just to taste.
Welcome. We're here again, finally. Episode 5,
Six, 1, 2.
I don't know.
Do it every 2 or 3 months. How are we supposed to know?
Yeah, I mean, we're producing such a high quality, high bar product that episodes don't even matter anymore.
Absolutely. Let's make sure we get our introductions snuck in here. I'm Mark Sandlin, and I'm joined by my good buddy Mark Nebo. We love doing this, by the way.
We do.
It's hard to believe it, but we really genuinely do. It's hard to believe no more than we seem to be able to get our act together, but we're glad that you are with us. We're going to try a new bourbon, Mark, to both of us, right?
Brand new to me, for sure.
What are we looking at?
We got Breckenridge bourbon whiskey. Whiskey with snow melt water from the Rocky Mountains. 43% alcohol, 86 proof.
Okay. Well, what we do is we try this thing 5 ways. We first crack it open, never having opened the bottle before. We're going to try it neat, give our feedback. We'll do a quick drop. We'll try it 2 ways cold, do another drop, and then come back with a segment we call Bourbon Alchemy.
Getting in the lab.
We get in the lab, have a little fun, and try a little mixing it up and see what it changes with the flavor. So we're looking forward to get into this. Shall we crack it open?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
So one thing I noticed on your bottle, I had a little plastic, a little paper thing on the top.
Right?
You didn't.
I didn't. I already feel like I got cheated. So thanks for pointing that out.
It says World's Whiskey Awards Best American Blended 2012. So this has been around a long time, more than 12 years. Okay. 96 points out of, I guess, 100 points.
I hope that's a good sign.
Award winning.
They wouldn't put their bad scores on here, though, so we'll see.
This bottle is exactly the same as Russell's Reserve, if you've ever had it.
Is it exactly?
Yeah, identical.
Yeah. So the whoa, I probably over poured that one, frankly.
No, don't
that. Yeah, so Breckenridge is a distillery out of Colorado, as you said. And this is the only bourbon they make, I believe. The nose of it's okay. It's a little light in color, don't you think?
I don't smell much. I don't even really smell the alcohol.
I get a little alcohol in the back end with a little very light peppery burn. And I don't know. There's some maybe toasty, malty rye in there, maybe. First taste. Well, I mean,
it's pretty good. It's a little different. It has boy, I can't tell what that. It's got a flavor that. Hold on a second. Let me do it again. This is great for airtime.
For me, I mean, so it's a bourbon, so it's got more corn in it, but it's a little rye heavy in its mash build. And I do get a little bit of that wood, that spicy rye kind of, and maybe a touch of vanilla.
It had and we've used this before. It had like a French toast, I guess, but not.
I think what you're picking up on is, I was about to say cinnamon, like a very slight cinnamon.
It's like a French toast with no syrup and more cinnamon. It doesn't have. It's not sweet, but it does have like a bread.
The other weird part is, and I'm picking up almost a very back end peppermint, a peppery mint.
Yeah, it's pretty complex. It's more complex than I thought it was going to be.
I was actually expecting it not to be complex.
I have a hair in my glass. I don't know if that's affecting my.
It might. I mean, they say it's only been aged 2 to 3 years. With the color of it, I'm guessing. Well, I don't know. It's a little darker than I was thinking initially. So I wasn't expecting much complexity. There is some complexity, but there's not one dominating flavor. There's not and there's also not any majorly powerful flavors. They're all kind of,
and it's pretty
kind of come
smooth
and
for
go.
having been, aged only such a short period of time.
Yeah, I'm sure that's because it has a slightly lower alcohol content than some bourbons. It almost, I am picking up more and more rye the more I sip it. I'd almost say, just from this neat tasting, that it'd be a good introduction to ryes for folks that are like hardcore bourbons but have not really liked ryes. I'm not a giant fan of ryes, but this is not a bad balance between the corn mash and the rye.
I wish I had more. There's no like writing or story on the bottle. A lot of times you get that. So
there's not much out there about it, except that that their kind of known secret ingredients is that they are in the Colorado Rocky Mountains, and that the water that they use is snow melt, and that there's added minerals and everything in that you wouldn't get anywhere else. And then they also, because they're the highest distillery in the world, I suspect that's for two reasons: both that they're in Colorado mountains, and also because they're in Colorado, so it's probably high in another way.
Like we found out with the Blackened episode that we did last, the Metallica that uses the sound on their barrels. Whiskey companies and beverage companies will use anything that will make it seem like they're going to have a different taste. So
Absolutely.
They probably are saying the barometric pressure of being so high makes a difference.
Well, yeah, there's nobody else putting it in a rack house that's with this kind of elevation, with this kind of temperature. So,
right.
I mean, it is a little different. I think, like I said, I think everything's more mellow, but there is, like you pointed out, complexity there. So
it's good. It's not. I'll drink it all, and I wouldn't be opposed to buying it again. It wasn't super expensive.
No, it's not too bad. All right. Well, let's take a quick drop and we'll come back. We'll try it cold two ways and maybe talk about the background of it and our thoughts a little more.
All right.
Just taste.
All right, welcome back to the Boozer Brothers. We've just tasted the bottle fresh for the first time. Neat. We're getting ready to go and try it cold two ways. Mark, do you want to go ice first, or you want to go Whiskey Stones first?
We almost always go ice first.
Yes, that's true.
So let's
not break a good habit, right?
Yeah, let's not break a good habit. Hey, I did want to say we got some people in the chat. Taryn made a joke about the overpouring. I agree. She put overpour in quotes because there's no such thing as that. So,
I suppose, but for the first of 5 drinks in the course of less than 40 minutes, right. I did kind of go, oh, I did not mean to hit quite that hard. It's not that I'm sad about it. It just was not my intention. So,
well, in the pre-show, like I said, I get pretty drunk doing this show. So, all right, I put up Cube in. Let me put a little more booze in here.
All right, there you go.
Anybody that's watching and is not in the chat, go into the Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, just comment. That's all it takes to get in the chat.
Yeah, we'll try to respond to anything we see as well. This is one of the first ones. Well, I'm not sure it suffers a ton from being on the rocks. Almost all of them have suffered. This one brings the cinnamon forward, the vanilla forward.
It tastes it almost tastes like a mixed sweet drink.
Yeah. Little rye on the back side.
Pretty good, actually, on ice.
And a very light. I mean, the peppery part that we could smell and taste originally, almost that's what kind of goes away with the ice. I think you get it's almost like a white pepper. It's a lighter peppery taste, and it's on the back end.
Normally, I don't like the drinks even equally as well on ice, but this is pretty good.
This isn't too bad. But what it does do, I think, besides de-emphasize some of that peppery part, which is sort of related, the finish, the down chest finish is almost absent.
Nothing, zero.
Yeah, there's almost nothing there.
And we've seen that with the ice. Ice knocks that down a lot, but this is very wide open.
It's not bad at all. And too frequently we see when we add ice that it almost kills all the flavors.
Yeah.
You might get still, like, if it's pronounced enough burn to start with, you might still get some of that. This one actually just sort of highlights the vanilla, the cinnamon, the lighter flavors, and then the back end. I think you still, is it me, or I feel like I get rye and maybe some soft wood kind of flavor at the back end.
Yeah, it's I get what you're saying. I don't know if I would say wood flavor, but it does have a rye flavor too. And I mean, on the paper thing that, again, I want to emphasize, I got and you did not get.
Oh man, you're just going to keep reminding me I got ripped off.
It does say Best American Blended.
Blended. Here's the thing.
Blended.
I do know that they have been trying to do all of this bourbon in-house, but so far they are a relatively young distillery, and so they do outsource some parts of it. So it's not so surprising that it's listed as blended, I suppose.
I would really like to I'd like to go. If we can go to the awards thing, that would be great. But
that would be fantastic. We just need a sponsor, like a really, really good sponsor.
I got a feeling we're going to have to sponsor ourselves. But
probably.
I wonder about the criteria. You know what I mean? Oh,
yeah. What are they?
In here. Scott says 13 years sober in a couple weeks. If I make it until then. Oh, we hope you do, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad you're watching, and
we're going to try to have a good time no matter what. But we are thrilled to have you here with us, sir. Very much so.
Yeah, good job. 13 years. That's commendable.
That's impressive. That is impressive. I mean, I have great respect for folks who are able to do that. Listen, Mark, let's switch over to some bourbon stones and see what whiskey stones and see where we go with that. Always interesting to see the difference between the ice, which, of course, is melting as you taste it and changing, really, truly changing the flavor with every sip. And then going back to just the stones where we do chill it, but we don't actually end up watering it down in any way whatsoever.
It always surprises me that the stones do anything to the flavor, and they always do.
Yeah, I mean, I think changing the temperature. I mean, when you think about the way our taste buds work, the colder something you put on your mouth, the less you're going to taste it, because you're ultimately freezing your taste buds, and they work better at room temperature, it turns out. So it's part of why most beers, and most people don't they think I'm crazy. Most beers I prefer at room temperature because I really taste more.
You're crazy.
I see, just like I should not have set you up for that.
You're just very European. Oh, speaking of very European, this has nothing to do with it, but it made me think of it.
Yeah.
The new glasses are great.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
They are great. You are a round glasses guy now.
You think so?
Yeah, they look awesome.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I'm enjoying them. These are my fun glasses. When I'm out having a good time, these are my go-tos. So
you wear them all the time then?
Most of the time. I
You're
have to be serious every now and then, man.
You're a mushroom.
All right, here we go. Let's try it on the Whiskey Stones. Oh my goodness! I think it kind of woke it up. Like I got some of the rye on the front end now, cinnamon, vanilla. It's even like what you were saying earlier, the sweet that you were talking about, it's almost like a pronounced honey now, don't you think?
It tastes like it. This is the most.
Ooh.
This is the most like cinnamon toast I've
Mhm.
had yet, and we bring that up a lot. But this
We
has
do.
that.
And it's even compared to the neat, which you and I both tend to like better than either of the colds. It has a more pronounced peppery edge, but the peppery edge for me, at least, is again at the back end of it. But instead of going down into my throat and chest, it almost lifts up into my nasal cavities as I'm
Like
swallowing.
wasabi.
Yeah, you get that kind of a nice little fun kick there. I mean, I kind of like this. I'm surprised.
I like it a lot. I think it's really good. I would give this a pretty high score. We got away from the scoring thing. We need to talk about that and get back.
Oh
to the
yeah,
scoring
I
thing.
suppose we do. Okay. Well, here's what we do. Let's finish this one, and then we'll go ahead and are we going to back to barrels, or what are we ranking it as?
Yeah,
Shots?
barrels in the honor of Donkey Kong.
Okay.
Barrels.
Who doesn't love some Donkey Kong?
So what I kept saying cinnamon toast, but what I really mean is golden graham. That's what I tasted.
Oh, I think that's perfect.
Do you
It is.
taste that?
Yes.
It's very
yes.
interesting.
I would not have put that together, but I had said honey, I'd said
Yeah.
cinnamon, I had said like a wheat rye, which
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense.
This is a good whiskey, gang.
And it's
is
almost
a good
there's a little
whiskey.
bit of taste of butteriness in there too.
Mhm.
But once again,
I drank it all for that time.
I'm trying. But once again, there's nothing that is there's no overpowering flavor. There's no one note that's stronger.
No.
Like frequently we'll have one where, there's whatever our taste is. The vanilla is very strong, or the charcoal burn of the barrel is really strong. But these all kind of balance out and kind of come in and out as you're tasting it, don't you?
Yeah, this is good, man. This is a good one.
Okay,
This is a good
so
one.
I'm trying to finish mine off. Give me, out of 5 barrels, your barrel rating for each of the first 3 tastings.
Okay. Neat, I'm going to say 3 out of 5 barrels. With ice, I'm going to say 3 out of 5 barrels. With the Whiskey Stones, I'm going to say 3.5 out of 5 barrels.
Okay, I think that's pretty fair. I'm going to go, for the neat, I'm going to go 3.5 barrels. For the ice, because of the way it started finishing after the ice had been there a little bit, I'm going to go 3. I would have given it 3.5. If my first taste of that iced would have stayed there, I would have kept it 3.5. But as it got more and more watered down, it started becoming kind of not much of anything. It reminded me too much of Basil Hayden straight out of the bottle, and that's not going to be something.
We always say poor Basil Hayden.
So and then on these stones, I'm going to give it a 4, man.
Wow, 4. That's
very. It's hard for me to even say.
I agree with you.
It's hard for me to even say. It just, it's not supposed to be better when it's cold.
It
doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh man, but that was pretty good. Let's keep going. I want to drink more, but I don't want to fill this back up with the stones. So
absolutely. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll hit another drop, and when we come back, we'll do a little bourbon alchemy.
I'm excited.
Just a taste. Just a taste. Come on now, just a taste. Oh yeah. Just
We are back, and
back in business.
For those who are listening to the podcast and not watching live, we are taking our alchemy very seriously. We have our safety equipment on. Safety first, Mark. Yes,
I'm ready,
always.
And I got my string fixed here. So last time I had to hold them.
Yeah,
and that was obviously not key, but I'm good now.
My problem is I've never worn them with these new glasses, and they fall. They don't go over top of them very well. And so
that's not very safe, and you look ridiculous.
No, I agree. I am going to risk it and remove my safety goggles, but I will be extra cautious as we do our experimentations.
I'm keeping mine on. You're a madman.
I know. I like to live recklessly, man. All right, so shall we do this? Our first tasting when we do a little bourbon alchemy is one that has always just kind of from the get-go, we were like, this is crazy. This is silly stuff. I don't understand why anyone thinks that a few drops of water could change anything about the flavor of really almost, anything. But, I mean, we've been surprised, right?
We have been. And to the folks that are new, we'll rehash it. If you go online and you look up drops of water adding to different whiskeys, there's a complete subreddits and whole Facebook groups associated with it. 2 drops, 3 drops, this whiskey, distilled water, mineral water, all kinds of stuff. Mark does it a little bit more fine-tuned. I just use the Annapolis municipal water supply from my bathroom in a plastic cup.
I've got filtered water here. It's more like you're supposed to actually do. Particularly, look, we're dealing with a bourbon here that already has snow water in it, which has minerals in it, and now you're just going to be reintroducing more minerals. You're confusing.
At least I got an eyedropper.
I feel like you're confusing. I think you're making it confused. That's all I'm saying. All right, we're going to do 3.
3 is good.
Here we go. 1, 2.
All right.
3. Give it a little stir around there. As it's stirring, hey, I need to point out your sister Taryn has said poor Basil Hayden.
She is an OG fan. She's watched every episode.
Absolutely.
She knows that we hammer Basil Hayden every episode. And
but listen,
funny enough, the Basil Hayden video never even made it live.
No, it didn't. But hey, I mean, it's not poor Basil Hayden. They're doing it to themselves. Make better whiskey, right? I mean, that's all I'm saying. But I will say this. One of my favorite local bartenders was talking about Basil Hayden, and he was so excited about it. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man.
Right.
And he said, have you had the toasted yet?
Oh,
okay.
Shit.
It turns out that they can make good bourbon when they want to.
You tried it?
Yeah, we might have to do. I've had one shot of it. We might owe it. We
might
owe it.
They need a redemption story. You know, America loves to come back.
Absolutely. So I think we need to do that. But let's go try this with our alchemy with 3 drops of water. All right, for the nose, it didn't change much from neat for me. Wow, that peppery part stays the whole time now.
It has a bitter finish at the end, which is strange.
Well, part of that's that they use green rye in their mash build, so that's probably part of it.
I would have thought I would have got that from the ice, but I didn't. Maybe it was because it was too much water to make it, and that's what we've been talking about is the whole mechanism behind a little bit of water can change it. Too much does one thing, someone does another thing, but 3 drops with Breckenridge bourbon whiskey, I think, gives it a bitter aftertaste, personally.
I agree, and I think it makes it one of the reasons I love bourbon is that warmth, that burn. But when it's from the front of your palate all the way to your back of the palate, and it is, this is the first time where I have felt a pronounced note in how we've tried it, and it is that peppery burn, and it's front to back, and it outweighs everything else. I mean, there's still the vanilla, the cinnamon is still lying there underneath, but it keeps getting outweighed by that pepper, which I'm. This is a strange one because this is the first time where I haven't really, really liked the 3 drops. I mean, I was the biggest I was like, there's no way adding 3 drops is going to change anything that I think. And you were like, Mark, you don't understand. I'm reading hundreds of people, thousands of people saying how different
I
it is.
never had done it,
And
but I looked into it, and there's a
And you
whole
convinced me.
culture.
Yeah, you convinced me. And we tried it, and almost every time I love it with a few drops. I think this one doesn't help it in any way.
1.5 barrels.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna go 1.5 as well. I really am not a big fan of that all the time peppery burn, and then I'm having to really actually pay deep attention to get other notes out of it. I mean, they're there, but they're just so outweighed by that kind of almost black pepper.
And if you're playing at home, your experience can vary based on your water, how many drops you do. I guess the day of the week, who knows? We don't know what's going on with this stuff. That's why we're doing the testing so you don't have to.
Yeah. And we we're drinkers, we're not experts, and so you can feel really good about whatever you think if it doesn't agree with us, because you can just go, well, they're not experts. What do they know?
Those guys don't know nothing. And we don't. That's the funny part.
No, that is true. That is true. All right, so our last tasting in our bourbon alchemy is going to be an old fashioned. I'm going back. Speaking of old, I'm going my old school way of making it, and I've got a stevia block in here, a cube that I will be adding my bitters to, topping it with some bourbon, a little. I'm going to first muddle it, then a little bit of water and bourbon, and then I'll finish it off with some maraschino cherries. How about you, sir?
I have Baltimore's own Domino sugar cubes, which I always use.
Yes, indeed.
You're
loyal, if nothing else, sir.
I am. If you live in Baltimore, you got to use Domino sugar. It's almost a law. I got premium Michigan cherries that I got from Taryn, who's watching. She's my sister. Got these from her. These are specifically made for cocktails. So she got me these, which I like.
Love it.
I got Fee Brothers old-fashioned bitters that I got from Fish Paw Liquor Store on Route 2 in Arnold, Maryland, which is my spot. And I've added a little bit more of John Everyman. Today I'm going to be muddling with a plastic spoon. So
you not only are you loyal, if nothing else, you're classy, if nothing else.
Classy.
Up and down, top to bottom.
How many drops of bitters do you use, Mark?
I do 3 strong splashes.
I don't think I do nearly as many. I only do like 5 or 6 drops.
That's relatively standard. 3 good splashes in there.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I'm not doing enough.
And I've used my I like, particularly for those who don't know that I'm a really diehard geek. Tomorrow night, Star Wars Obi-Wan series begins, and so my kids got me one of these large ice balls that you can make. It comes out in the shape of the Death Star, so I'm using that. And
I love that. I'm using, when I do the cherries here, I use a little bit of the juice too.
Yep, I had a little bit coming off of
which I like.
the swizzle stick that I'm using.
Hold on, I'm not even close to ready. You're way ahead of me. Let me mash up my sugar here.
You go right ahead. But yeah, I'm very excited about Obi-Wan coming out. So I was like, this is a great opportunity to use this particular ice ball. I don't know that we're going to see
ice left. I only got one.
Don't know that we're going to see the Death Star, but I'm still excited about Star Wars in general. So
I'm going to tell you something that you may have known because we've been friends on Facebook for
quite a while,
almost 10 years now.
Probably, yeah.
I've only seen like 1.5 Star Wars total.
I thought I remembered. At one point, I felt like since I've known you that you hadn't seen any.
Yeah, by the time I'm 80, I'll be through them all, I guess. Yeah,
well, they're making series now. I mean, you're not just going to be. You'll never catch up at this point.
You're
never going to catch up.
Yeah, Shannon's
so
a big fan, and I'm starting to become more of a fan of the idea of it, but I just don't have time to watch movies so much. Okay.
Fair enough.
Try it.
All right, so you got yours mixed.
Ready to go. Look how
here we
dark
go.
mine is compared to yours.
And you put a lot of cherry juice in there, didn't
I
you?
think it's a cherry juice, yeah. Let's go for it.
All right, here we go. All right.
I need more booze. It's all cherry. Hold on.
Well, yeah, and for me, remember how when we had it with ice, it went really sweet?
Yeah.
That's happening again for me now that I have a larger piece of ice, or a piece of ice. And in an old fashioned, I don't need the bourbon to go sweet because we already have sugar in it, and then the fruit has a little of its own fructose sweetness to it. For me, it's not a great old fashioned. Yeah, it goes way too sweet. I feel like I'm drinking bourbon Kool-Aid.
This is great for the people listening, isn't it?
Yeah, the thumbs down, Mark. Everybody who
thumbs down really doesn't go.
Podcast, all the 3 people that will download this podcast and listen to it are they gonna hear they're gonna hear your thumbs down really.
You know, it tastes fine. It doesn't taste like an old fashioned though. It's just sweetness.
It's a bourbon Kool-Aid, man. You
Yeah,
get a little bourbony citrus.
We've had some good old fashions in this series, and this isn't it.
We've had some great ones. Yeah, I'm with you. This is a one barrel, one barrel for sure.
For sure.
So if you add all of ours together,
oh shit, I haven't been writing them down. Have you?
Man, in my head, man, I'm keeping track of all this in my head. I'm
Let's
like a human
hear
calculator.
Let's hear
Calculator.
the
No, I am so far away from a human calculator. My first undergraduate degree is in English. There's no way I'm a human calculator. But I know enough and remember enough to know that the cold stones, the bourbon stones, the whiskey stones, collectively got the highest grade from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think, I'm fairly certain that has never happened.
That's a first. It's usually neat or drops. That's usually what's
yeah. Taryn says that bourbon Kool-Aid sounds like a delightful summer treat, and I agree. I wonder if alcohol doesn't freeze real well, but if you can make this into a lollipop, I mean a frozen pop, well, I would probably go through a lot. So I wouldn't want it as a beverage, but boy, you freeze this thing and give it to me on a stick.
That'd be a 4th of July hit.
Yeah, I might put a lot of this away.
Yeah, normally neat or a few drops of water is the best.
Yeah.
And this one, stones are the best.
Yeah, which is really strange. Really strange. I mean, for me, I typically prefer neat or water. Right. And probably more frequently neat. This is just a different kind of bourbon. I mean, one, it's not made in Kentucky. They do have the mash bill to be able to claim their bourbon since the laws have changed on what is and isn't bourbon because they're more than 50% corn in the mash. But the weird thing for me is, I guess it's not so weird because it's only, I think, 50% corn or something. I'm looking it up real quick here.
You're the law guy. I just go around along for the ride.
But I think the build is about 50% corn, which is not surprising then, I guess, that you don't really. I mean, one of my favorite things about bourbon is that corn taste.
Right.
Sometimes it leans cornbread, sometimes it leans popcorn, sometimes it's got different, but I love that. And I don't pick up any of that in this at all, really.
Yeah. I think this is an okay whiskey in general. I'll probably usually drink it neat. I probably won't drink it any other way just because that's what I do.
So
mostly.
When you tasted it neat, you said that you could see yourself buying this bottle again. Now that you've had it in all the other forms.
Still, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. I like to usually I drink a whole bottle of something before I buy another one, but I do have bottles that are, Blanton's and Jameson are always going, you know what I mean? But this is one that I could easily drink all of and buy another one. I'll probably drink all this and buy another one just for the liquor cabinet to keep because it's pretty good.
That's pretty good. So another question for you: have you been keeping up on your infinity bottle?
Oh, I have bad news.
Oh no!
I drank a decent chunk of that already.
You've already
I forgot-
consumed your infinity
I
bottle.
forgot we were doing it.
You should
and-
you should have put markings on it. See, I bought this very cheap decal that's the infinity sign. It looks more like it's like eyeballs, but
I know
still,
I should have.
it's-
I started. So I have probably about as much as you do, so we'll be okay. But
okay.
I drank some of it, and I posted on Facebook, and I thought later I looked back and I couldn't believe you didn't say something because I said I drank this whiskey that was in a decanter. I can't remember what it was, but it's pretty good.
Oh no!
Looking back when I realized what it was, I was like, damn, I can't believe Salem didn't say something about that.
Well, I'm going to say this, just knowing you, Mark. Please, before you put the bottle in front of you away, go ahead
I'll put
add your couple of shots
I
so
will.
that you don't empty the bottle and go, I feel like I was supposed to do something else with that bottle.
Taryn in the chat asked about with the price. I think I paid about 40, low 40s for it. I don't remember. 42.
Mine was $48.
Huh?
Mine was 48.
48. You
but
guys
in
have a
North
little
Carolina-
bit extra tax going down there.
A little bit, but not much. I mean, we usually pay pretty close to suggested.
Yeah, I think it was in the mid 40s. I don't remember exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't outrageously priced.
I'll say this. Our last show was on Blackened.
I like that.
And it was less than $10 more than this bottle.
Yeah.
I would buy it over and over
It
again.
was really good. I don't know if you guys are listen to the Blackened episode, but it sounds cliche because Metallica's involved and all that. But
and they've got that whole
really
goofy,
good.
like,
I'm definitely going to buy another bottle.
like when you talked about earlier in this show about how a lot of distilleries try to come up with some gimmicky thing like, oh, we're made from the fresh melted snows of the Colorado mountains. Their thing was Metallica has this proprietary audio system that makes the bass resonate in a way no one else can do it, so much that if you're at a show, you feel it like inside and out. And they use that same technology to move air or sound waves in the rick house where the bourbon's stored, and believe that it interchanges with the wood in a different way than anyone else can do. And it felt like, what a stupid gimmick. But man, was it good.
Good whiskey. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Have you been to Metallica show?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Me neither.
I've read about it.
Going, but I haven't been.
I've read about the technology because I'm a geek. I thought that was fascinating to find out.
You really are.
I know. I can't help
it. The funny thing, I have a lot of really geeky friends, and I'm really not that geeky. But I got a lot of geeky friends.
Maybe you really are. Like,
so Shannon says I actually am, but I'm geeky about other shit. Like, I'm really, really into. I guess I'm a geek. I guess because I'm very into like weird geography stats.
That's a geek.
And I'm very into fantasy football, which is geeky.
I don't want to completely ruin it for you, but the whole geography thing actually leans a little harder into nerd than geek.
It's funny because I ask people stuff all the time. I'm like, do you know what the longest river in Europe is? You know what I mean? Right. And I just like that stuff. That is pretty nerdy, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. But good. I really think that maybe the reason you have so many geek friends is that you're attracted to a part of you that's been repressed, and maybe it's being
my wife's a huge geek too, so that helps.
There we go. Doesn't hurt. So, as far as the Breckenridge bourbon whiskey, the overall bottle in all of our tasting, give me your barrels before we wrap this up.
3
overall.
3 out of 5.
You know, I'm gonna have to.
Good.
I'm gonna give it a 2.75 only because of how absolutely horrible it is as an old fashioned.
2.75. Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to give it less. I actually kind of wanted to give it half a barrel on the old fashioned.
I don't even, as we go forward, who knows where the cutoff is? Maybe we go further down than quarters. I don't know. But for now, quarters is the
Right.
max.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, sir, it's always fun. Let's do this more frequently.
Gosh, we need to.
We need a manager. We need a
We
manager. who
wanted
will
it
really
to
make
be
this happen.
once a month, and we're lucky to do once every 2 months at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. We really need someone to whip us into shape. But anyway,
Thanks for coming out, whoever's here, Scott and Taryn and whoever else watched. We appreciate it.
absolutely, very much appreciate you being here with us. Mark, is always fun. Cheers to you, sir.
Cheers
We'll
to
see you all the next time on the Bourbon Brothers.
Just a taste. Just a taste. Come on now, just a taste. Oh yeah. Just a taste.